Can you read the statement? I wrote it.
Okay, this is a statement from the Historic Preservation Office. This is a reminder that this is an official meeting of the City of El Paso's Historic Landmark Commission. We ask and expect that all attendees are courteous and respectful to each other to ensure a professional meeting. And an excessive display of uncivil behavior or being disruptive may require for an individual to be removed from the meeting. And from Chapter 20.20 it states, when City Council has adopted architectural design guidelines for a particular district, those guidelines shall control, provided they are not in conflict with other requirements of the city code, except that the HLC may approve exceptions to the guidelines in an effort to maintain the historic integrity of an H overlay property, in which case the exception shall control in that particular case. What I always like to say to property owners and contractors is what that means is that if you have a barrel tile roof and your neighbor has a shingle roof, doesn't mean that you get a shingle roof. The Landmark Commission can make exceptions in the items that are presented before them, but the exceptions do not mean that the guidelines or the ordinance have been changed. And it applies only in that case.
All right, thank you, Brovie. Call to the public. Is there any public comment? All right, moving on. The regular agenda, item number 1 has been withdrawn. Item number 2 is 2906 Wheeling Avenue.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Item number 2 is a certificate of appropriateness for a window installation at 2906 Wheeling Avenue, which is located in the Manhattan Heights Historic District. It's zoned R3H, which is residential historic. It was constructed in 1922, and it is a contributing building. You may recognize this property because the property owner came in several months ago asking for some gates. So she asked for gates at the side and at the back. And you did give her an answer, and now she's back because she'd like to change out the windows. So the windows that are in the house now are not one consistent type. There are several types. The ones on the main facade appear to be 4/1 double hung sash, operable sash. The ones, here, we'll show you a little bit closer. Okay. The ones, if you look at the lower left corner with the blue door, that's the main facade. There are double leaf, operable wood, multi-light casement windows on that. And then if you look at the other window configurations, some are 4/1, I think there are 2/1s, there are 1/1s. So the owner wants something, oops, what did I do? Thank you. Thank you. So the owner wants something a little more consistent, which is fine. So this is the house. It's a 1-story, as you can see. And she does want to change most of the 4/1s into 4/1s, which is fine. The 2 and the 3/1s, she changed it to 1/1. However, the casement windows on the main facade flanking the door, she wants to change into sliders. So in a sense, that's why we're here. This is the replacement window. So it looks like it would be a single pane, inoperable, with a different grid pattern than what we see now in the house itself. So this is what kicks this into a Landmark Commission meeting, if you will. So, yeah, as you can see, it would make a difference. Most of the time with windows, because they take up so much of the facade, changing them does affect the character of the property. And while most of this we find can be approved, I mean, we're not opposed to replacing, say, a 4/1 or 3/1 or 2/1, if there's so many, with a 1/1, because they'll have some consistency. The issue, though, is the casement windows on the side of the front door, because they are so prominent. They're on the main facade. And it would make a change. It would create a change in the facade of the house. So we're recommending approval with modification based on the following. I can take you back. The design guidelines for El Paso's historic district sites and properties recommend doors and windows are considered important character defining features because of significant detailing. When windows are involved in the construction process, it is recommended to repair rather than replace, and in many cases, this will entail only the replacement of a broken sash cord, new weather stripping, removing old paint, and repainting. Retain and preserve the pattern, arrangement, and dimensions of door and window openings on principal elevations. Often, the placement of doors and windows is an indicator of a particular architectural style, and therefore contributes to the building's significance. Doors and windows for new construction additions should be compatible in proportion, location, shape, pattern, size, and details of the existing units. Retain and preserve original doors and windows, including elements such as sash, glass, sills, lintels, casings, muntins, trim, frames, thresholds, hardware, and shutters. If repair of an original window or door element is necessary, repair only the deteriorated elements to match the original in size, composition, material, dimension, and detail. By patching, splicing, consolidating, or otherwise reinforcing the deteriorated section, and the removal of historic materials should be avoided. When repair is not feasible, door and window products will be reviewed on an individual basis using the following criteria: architectural and historical compatibility, comparison to original profile, level of significance of original doors and windows to the architectural side of the building. Three-dimensional extra applied muntins that simulate or match the original muntins may be approved. Single-dimension inter-applied muntins are not appropriate. And the Secretary of Interior's standards for rehabilitation recommend that the historic character of a property be retained and preserved. The removal of historic materials or alteration of features and spaces that characterize a property shall be avoided. New additions, extra alterations, or related new construction will not destroy historic materials, features, and spatial relationships that characterize the property. The new work will be differentiated from the old and will be compatible with the historic materials, features, size, scale, proportion, and massing to protect the integrity of the property and its environment. And the modifications that the new windows match the existing or historic windows.
All right, thank you, Broby. So you said you're okay with the one over ones if it's consistent?
I am okay with the 1/1s because, like I said, we see so many different window types on this one building. And that's not unusual. So I can understand why the property owner wants some consistency.
Okay.
But with the windows on the main facade, yeah, like I said, those, well, you've seen in our other window applications we brought forward to you. Sometimes we say, well, just replace the ones on the main facade and make sure that it's consistent with the historic character. And with the other facades, yeah, maybe you need a little more freedom. We're basically asking for the same thing here.
Okay. It seems like the casement windows aren't in terrible shape. Maybe those ones could just stay and be refinished and the rest could be replaced. That's what I would, sure.
Do we know if the iron rod is staying after the windows are replaced?
We don't know. They usually do go away because new windows are usually pretty thick. They're double pane, so you usually don't need them. But they can stay or go. It doesn't matter to us.
I think somewhere in there, it said she was going to remove those, which I think would look nice. Be safer.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Does anyone have any opinions on this? Okay. Is the homeowner available?
Ms. Dominguez, are you there? Ms. Dominguez, are you there? If you are, you may want to try hitting *6 to unmute yourself.
No? All right. Do we have any public comment on this one?
No public comment was submitted on this one.
Okay. Do you want to just table it, or, yeah, okay. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
So a motion to table?
Table item number 2.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No. All right, on to item number 3, and maybe we'll see if Ms. Dominguez comes on before the end of the meeting. So item number 3 is 9065 Alameda Avenue.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Item number 3 is for a certificate of appropriateness for a mural on an exterior wall. This is for 9065 Alameda Avenue, Zone C1H SP, Commercial Historic Special Permit. This is located in the Isleta Historic District, non-contributing, built in 1910. So we were approached a few weeks ago with a request to put in a mural on this particular wall here. So if some commissioners are familiar with the Isleta area, this is the old Lowenstein home, right? And they, so there have been several changes made to this property. As you know, Sun Metro also operates off of this parcel. And the original structure that was there, right on the corner, is no longer there. So this wall, we went back, looked at some imagery from, I want to say it was around '06, more or less, and we saw that there was a very similar wall, however, it had vigas on top, so we're not sure if this wall is even the original wall that was there. However, with that said, it was a non-contributing property. So looking around the district, Isleta, as I'm sure commissioners you have seen, is full of murals. This is what they are proposing. So this is an actual render of what the mural will look like. You can see this is where the gate will be. And they eventually want to do something with the gate as well. However, that will be at a later date. So these are a few photos that they've provided us. So as you can see, this wall doesn't have a whole lot of function. It's more of a buffer to sort of hide the parking area in the rear. So it's right across the street from this very famous mural, the Virgen Maria, and catty corner to the Mission. So with that said, we're recommending approval. And the thing is that our guidelines don't really cover murals. Pretty much as far as it goes is paint color, which doesn't give us a whole lot of information regarding murals. So ultimately, this is a decision for the Historic Landmark Commission. But with that said, we are recommending approval based on the following. From Isleta's design guidelines, they recommend the natural color or originally exposed material should be maintained. It is not appropriate to paint, stucco, or spray texture on brick. If it can be determined, a structure's original color should be given first priority as a color choice. Documentation of colors for architectural styles and for certain periods in history is available in trade journals. Color choices should primarily be made from these documented palettes. And from the Secretary of the Interior Standards, new additions, exterior alterations, or related new construction shall not destroy historic materials that characterize the property. The new work shall be differentiated from the old and shall be compatible with the massing, size, scale, and architectural features to protect the historic integrity of the property and its environment.
All right, thank you, Mo. I think it looks nice.
I'm not opposed.
Yeah, not opposed to it. All right, do we have any representatives?
Yes, we do.
No, this is perfect. My name is Ron Lyman. I'm a member of the Mission Trail Association. Last time I was here was 4 years ago to present some historic markers going in onto some of the school properties. First of all, the mural, it's a very colorful representation of the Mission Trail. This will become a landmark at the western terminus of the trail. The significance of the location is this is where the Mission Trail begins and it's also within the city limits. The trail itself is about 9 miles long. Less than 3 miles are within the city limits. The mural itself will be on a non-load-bearing wall. This is not on the original structure. This is at the Sun Metro Nestor Valencia Mission Valley Transfer Center. It will face Alameda Avenue as well as State Highway 20. The building it's next to is an 1870s adobe building that was the residence and store of Moritz Lowenstein. This is now the home of the Mission Trail Association. Again, the building is in the Isleta Historic District on the northwest corner of Zaragoza and Alameda Avenue. Catacorner is the Isleta Mission Church. A mural titled The Isleta Virgin by Mario Colon is on the wall on the southwest corner of the intersection. You've seen that photo. The only other nearby murals are, interestingly enough, in Zeke's Meat Market, just down the street. Now, the Mission Trail, again, approximately 9 miles long, extends from the Isleta Mission Church out to the chapel at San Lazario. This road itself dates back to 1598. Between 1680 and 82, the missions were established at Isleta and Socorro. San Lazario, the Presidio, would not be built until 1789. But that is the Mission Trail, and we want to represent the western terminus of this. You saw the wrought iron door. Our plans are to change out that door. We want to have a student art contest to design a new door. That is a non-functioning wrought iron door. You can't open it. So we want to go ahead and use the design and encourage especially students in the area to submit ideas, including things such as the river, the mountains, and the trail for that design. So we want to have a design contest. We think that's a good thing for the community, and it will finish that particular wall. And so we bring this mural to you to celebrate the Mission Trail and the Mission Valley. With me today is Carl Rimkus from Sun Metro, and Shelby McHugh, also from the Mission Trail Association. If you have any questions, we'd be more than happy to answer those.
All right, thank you, Mr. Lyman. I don't think we're opposed to it at all. So do you have any questions? No? No questions?
I'd like to make a motion.
All right.
Okay. Motion to approve the proposed mural. Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Nope. All right. Thank you for coming in. On to item number 4, 1118 to 1120 North El Paso Street.
Okay, item number 4 is for a certificate of appropriateness for window replacement after the fact and alterations to the main facade and porch. This is for 1118-1120 North El Paso Street. The reason it has 2 addresses is that in our system it shows 2 different addresses and they're both correct. So this is for a property zoned A3H, built in 1938. It is a contributing building in the Sunset Heights Historic District. So this is the area right behind the Rio Grande campus of EPCC. And this is the photo that we have in our records dating back to around 2002. So you can see the main window on the main facade. It appears to be a operable sash 1/1, and it has been replaced It was replaced, obviously without permits or approvals. We're not sure when exactly it was replaced. However, the current owner has stated that this is how the property was when they purchased it. So unfortunately, this property did suffer a fire a couple weeks ago, and they're trying to make repairs. However, of course, we want to make sure that the repairs are done correctly. So as you can see, there appears to be a column, a wood column at the rear with brackets that seems to have been claimed by the fire. And you know, this is something that we would definitely want to see put back in kind. So it doesn't appear that the other windows have been changed out. The main one is the one on the main facade. We know that they have a door boarded up. However, they did mention that they will be replacing that one in kind as well. The main reason that we're here, Commissioners, besides the window, is that this is the drawing that we received. So we've asked for a framing plan and a detail plan showing us that the column is going to be replaced in kind. And as you can see, this doesn't really give us a whole lot of information. So we would want something a little more detailed, showing dimensions, measurements, you know, possibly even a quick rendering like what was presented to you by the Immaculate Conception Church, where they were replacing the columns, but they actually drew out a column detail. So another thing that we noticed was that in the original photos, if you look at the gable, you can see, it's a little hard to see in this photo, but at the very top there used to be wood shake, and currently it looks like that has been removed. We don't know if it was removed when they started redoing the roof. That's the other thing, is that they started re-roofing it. This was already, the work had already started when we went on site to take these photos initially. So these are the surrounding properties of the neighborhood. And we're recommending approval with modifications based on the following. From El Paso's design guidelines, porches are functional as well as decorative features that help to define the overall character of a building. Many buildings feature porches, which are one of the most common architectural features. A porch and all of its architectural elements should be maintained and repaired. If elements must be replaced, materials should match the original construction. Porch railings and columns should be constructed of wood, precast concrete, or brick. Stucco and wrought iron are permitted if original and characteristic. As with masonry, original wood finishes should be maintained where at all possible. If areas are deteriorated beyond repair, they should be replaced in kind to match the original historic material compounds. Aluminum, vinyl, plywood, or other synthetic sidings shall be reviewed by the HLC. However, some may be considered on an individual basis if fake wood grains are not used. The proposed material matches the existing historic material. All original detailing is left exposed. Window and door trim are not covered, and any unique finishes are intact and not covered or damaged. Retain and preserve the pattern, arrangement, and dimensions of door and window openings on principal elevations. Often the placement of doors and windows is an indicator of a particular architectural style, and therefore contributes to the building's significance. Doors and windows for new construction and additions should be compatible in proportion, location, shape, pattern, size, and details to existing units. Retain and preserve original doors and windows, including such elements as sash, glass, sills, lintels, casings, muntin, trim, frames, thresholds, hardware, and shutters. If repair of an original window or door element is necessary, repair only the deteriorated element to match the original in size, composition, material, dimension, and detail by patching, splicing, consolidating, or otherwise reinforcing the deteriorated section. The removal of historic materials should be avoided. When repairs not feasible, door and window products will be reviewed on an individual basis using the following criteria: architectural and historical compatibility, comparison to original profile, level of significance of original doors and windows to the architectural style of the building, three-dimensional exterior applied muntins that simulate or match the original muntins may be approved. Single-dimension interior applied muntins are not appropriate. Visible door styles must be matched to the building's architectural style. An inappropriate door will require review by the HLC. Decks should be of materials and dimensions that do not monopolize the rear elevation or significantly detract from the architecture of the building. It is not appropriate to install decks that require the removal of historic materials or otherwise damage or obscure architectural features. Design and construct decks so that they may be removed in the future without damage to the historic structure. Select appropriate materials for patios, including wood, concrete, brick, and stone to match the original. And from the Secretary of Interior Standards for rehabilitation, the historic character of a property shall be retained and preserved. The removal of historic materials or alteration of features and spaces that characterize a property shall be avoided. Each property shall be recognized as a physical record of its time, place, and use. Changes that create a false sense of historical development, such as adding conjectural features or architectural elements from other buildings, shall not be undertaken. Distinctive features, finishes, and construction techniques or examples of craftsmanship that characterize a historic property shall be preserved. Deteriorated historic features shall be repaired rather than replaced. Where the severity of deterioration requires replacement of a distinctive feature, the new feature shall match the old in design, color, texture, and other visual qualities, and where possible, materials. Replacement of missing features shall be substantiated by documentary, physical, or pictorial evidence. And the modifications are that the picture window at the main facade be replaced with a 1/1 sash window to match the original, that the wood shake at the top of the front gable be replaced to match the original, and that accurate detailed drawings are submitted showing the framing members to be replaced to match the original.
All right, thank you, Mo. So it's just the window on the front that has
Correct.
been modified? Okay.
Yes.
This one here.
And where does the shake go?
So the wood shake was at the very top of the gable, and you can see it in the original photo here.
Okay. It's hard to tell if it's there or not on the new.
Yeah, it is really hard to see from this picture here. However, we were able to zoom in a little more, and yeah, we could definitely tell that it was wood shake.
Okay. Anyone have any comments, questions?
Well, I think the issue, can you all hear
Just
me? 'Cause I'm
just a
not sure.
second.
Yeah, they'll call you shortly. The commissioners are going to
Oh.
discuss.
Yes.
I see, okay.
I do have a question. So since you noticed that they were re-roofing, did you see what roof they were putting on, and is that approved already, or should we also add that into?
You can add it in.
Promotion.
It looks like what they're replacing it with is a very similar, most likely Shasta
Okay.
white. So, as you can see, here's a little portion where they've already started to re-roof it. And yeah, it is going to be Shasta white. So that is something that we could approve administratively. However, we're kind of waiting on the contractor to give us appropriate drawings.
Okay. Any more questions for Mo?
The last sentence, detailed drawings shall be submitted showing framing members and replaced. Earlier, there was a comment made about a rendering.
What was that, I'm sorry?
Earlier, there was a comment made about a rendering.
Right.
Is that when detailed drawings, is that under that?
No, not necessarily, and we're not requesting a rendering. I had just mentioned one of the previous applications that had come by to replace a column. They actually brought detailed drawings and a rendering. But in this case, we just need the detailed drawings with dimensions showing the detailing of these original columns.
Yeah, they look fluted.
Did you say that they're replacing the other windows as well?
No,
Okay.
no.
All right, anything else for Mo? All right, it sounds like we have a representative. Can you state your name?
Sure, it's Joni Superbill. I'm with the Church of Scientology.
All right, thank you, Joni. We're recommending that the front window get replaced with a 1/1 to match what was there. And then we're asking for a little bit more detail on the drawings. I think you're well on your way to having good drawings there. Maybe just detail out the columns a little bit, and it should be good. There was a third thing. Oh, and then to replace the wood shake. I think it's just a small little area at the gable.
I actually don't know what that means, but I'm hoping my contractor does. Can you say it again? Replace the wood what?
It's called wood shake, and it's typically cedar, and it's like wood tiles there up at the shingles at the top of the flat portion there, and the triangle in the picture. The
On the
gable.
roof, or is it near the roof?
It's at the top of the roof there.
On
You see
top?
how there's that flat portion that's triangular?
Actually, I can't see anything. I'm on my telephone. I couldn't get into Teams.
Okay, so, yeah, there's
So I'm
a,
doing this I'm just taking notes. Now, can I address one thing real quick?
sure.
Is the 1/1. We looked, this is a large window, and they don't make the 1/1s for this size window anymore. So,
I mean,
I'm
yeah,
just
it would-
asking the board, because we have suffered a huge loss with this fire. I don't know if you know that a homeless person decided to burn trash in the trash can and didn't realize it was plastic and melted that down, and then it caught the house on fire.
Yeah.
And this is a nonprofit. We don't make money. We just want to do good for the community, and obviously we want to comply with the historical district. But at the same time, we know our viability. And this is a huge strain on us because the insurance did not cover, obviously, a window. It didn't really even cover all the damage that we have. So we're trying to get funds together and that sort of thing just to cover the cost of rebuilding. And so I'm just asking, pleading, begging, if we can leave that window so that we can be functional at least, so that we can perhaps make some money to, in the future, get a 1/1. At this time, it's like, it's a hard task to go get that custom built.
Yeah, have you gotten any quotes for it? I mean, it is a custom window.
No, our contractor, yeah, it is a custom window, and it is more than, what we have now are costs for the repairs itself. You've seen the damage. We can't even cover all the damage that was done. That's our problem. And then to add on a window situation on top of what we can't even cover is asking a lot of us at this time. So we are asking if we can, please leave it be. When, I took over the building in 2008, I had no idea that this was any other way. So I'm just asking if it doesn't detract from anything. In my opinion, it's aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah, it's just not of the
and I'm
historic character of the home. And it's just one window. A
I
lot of times,
understand.
there's people come in with a lot more windows than that. I mean, what
Right,
I
it's
would
just a
recommend
bad
is
timing.
getting some quotes to see what it really costs. I don't imagine it's not a complicated window, but something that could look a lot closer would be more appropriate for the neighborhood.
Right, but you do realize that we're on the corner of the Rio Grande campus, and they are not, their building is not at all part of the historical district, correct?
I'm not sure.
No.
No, okay.
No, because you can see by the architecture, I mean, we are feet from that structure. And it's such a burden at this point. I don't mind getting quotes, but it's going to be above and beyond what we can already do, because replacing the window is not part of the insurance adjustment as far as the fire went. And that's what we're dealing with right now, is just trying to get the building back to where we can actually use it. Right now, we're using my home, you know, and it's just been a lot, you know, we need to not do that.
Yeah, I understand, but I mean, it would be nice to have some quotes and see what you're really facing. I understand that it's gonna cost something, but it does, I think it needs to be researched a little bit, just so you have an idea as to what it's gonna cost to put something in there. It is a very simple window. It is large, but
It's large, yeah, it
it's
is
not,
large. That's why,
it's not very ornate, so it shouldn't be that expensive per se, in the world of windows at least.
and who would you suggest would give me the quote?
I can't give you that information just because we're here with the city, but, I mean, you can search a window person online and.
Window replacement?
Yeah, that would be able to quote you.
And the name of it is something over what? One over
It's a 1/1, so it's a sash window.
one?
That means that there's one open area over another. Some windows have divided lights, so there's more panes of glass above on the second. Those would be like a 9/1 or a 6/1. But this is a simple 1/1 that we're asking for.
Okay, and if I get you these quotes, what would be the next step? Because what we're trying to do right now is just, again, move out of my house. And I can see this postponing it even further,
Yeah,
correct?
I know it's difficult, but this window here that's showing is considered a picture window, and it seems to have like a reflective film on it. It's just very out of the ordinary, and essentially we don't want the neighbors thinking that it's okay to put these in, because you know, the attractive part of these picture windows is that they are low cost, since it's just a pane of glass. It's probably the cheapest of the window types. But, so we don't want to encourage this to spread throughout the neighborhood. It is just one window. I'd like to reiterate that. And I mean, you can even look at building one or having someone you know build one by hand. It's not difficult. If assuming you are a woodworker of some sort or you have some sort of skills, there are a lot of people around that could help you with that. If you're on a budget. So I would say that exploring some options would be a good start, and getting some quotes and seeing if you could find someone potentially to help you rebuild that window.
Well, could we at least still continue with the repair of the building while that is going on concurrently, so that we have some forward movement?
I'd defer
In
that
this.
to Proby and Mo.
Well, as far as the window goes, I mean, they will be able to occupy the building if all they have to do is replace a window. I know the structure, the framing structure is still in question. However, regardless, you know, whether it was a historic property or not, we would still need to see a framing plan to show that the structure is, you know, adequate. And in this case, there's just the added layer of having the detailing of the columns that has to be replaced.
Okay, and Mo, are you able to email the contractor Sergio Anguiano exactly what you need? Because he's under the impression he already sent you what he thought you needed. So if that's not correct, I need some communication between you and him. Is
Yeah.
that possible?
Yes, definitely. No, we can definitely speak with him. The other thing is, we can, we know that you're replacing the roof with same material. If you want, we can, if the commissioners are okay with it, we can certainly get you the approval for the roof. However,
Okay.
the structure
help.
itself still needs a little more detail before we can sign off on it.
Okay. If y'all would allow that to occur while he's getting you the exact details that you want, Mo, then that would be awesome. That would help us out a lot. It's been sitting there, an eyesore to the community for 5 months now, and I'd like to see this resolved.
All right, so what we'll request is that you can get some quotes for the window. I think we can approve the roof just because that's gonna,
So can we close for discussion?
yeah, we can close for discussion.
Okay.
All right, let's discuss.
Do you want to go first?
Sure. So my concern with this property and the proposal is that this is a contributing property. It's 1938, so the picture window is completely out of character with the property. And I don't know that I'm convinced that the applicants understand the significance of that. And I'm concerned that if we move forward with the roof, that the other work will not get done and we'll end up with a contributing property with significant alterations that may not be addressed for a while. But, that's where my perspective.
Yeah, and my only concern with the roof is that protects everything beneath it. So,
Well, and I don't think the roof itself was part of this. I think that was something separate, right?
I think that was also approved administratively already, or it can be
Or
approved?
it has to be still.
Can be approved.
It can be approved. Yeah, I don't think we've received an application for the roof itself.
Okay, so I think that that's a matter for staff, and for us, the matter is the window and the wood framing.
that's correct. All right.
Okay, I have a few things I wrote down. So first of all, what more detail are you looking for exactly with that post? I couldn't see the drawing. Are you looking for more like materials or installation method?
So we would definitely want to see materials. We would want to see dimensions. As you can see from this picture, these columns have some, what's that called, fluting? Yeah, they have some fluting, so we would want to see the radii of the, of the structure itself, how it is that they're going to put that together. That's the kind of information that we would need to see. We don't want to just see somebody slap on a 6x6 and call it a day.
Got it, okay. Second point I have is, could we also maybe add that the wood shake be replaced either with a compatible material, meaning wood, or a substitute material approved by the Historic Preservation Office, just so that it is also able to give the applicant some options on that?
I think the motion, if I may real quick, I think the motion just says match the original. I don't think we're being super specific. Does that give the wiggle room that the Commissioner Jimenez is requesting?
It certainly would. However, according to the guidelines, any material that is other than wood, such as vinyl, that would have to be approved by the commission.
Yeah, so just so that like it's a little more clear of what it is that they're gonna apply and how the applicant might think it is compatible, but we just need to make sure. My second hot take is to compromise, the owner was not the one who changed the window. I would be okay with approving the exterior applied muntins, but obviously I know that's up for a vote.
Yeah, I think my issue with this window is also there's like a film on it. It looks like it's just kind of unusual for the neighborhood. So, Very,
Just-
very reflective.
I think that there are other parts of the home that also do add to the historic character of it. We're not fully relying on the window, and while I'm completely agreeing with you, windows are incredibly important, and I want the applicant to understand, just like every other applicant, how important windows are to the home. There is some other character-defining features that help it out, and, as long as we can get it looking similar to the same configuration, I'd be okay with that.
Okay. Does anyone have comments on that?
Thank you.
Commissioners, if I may add something with regard to the window. Well, we would love to see a wood window in its place that matches what was there previously. We know that those are incredibly expensive, so I'd like to let the owner know that in these districts, we will approve a different material for the window, as long as it matches the dimensions, the operation, the configuration, the finish. So, as I said, windows we know are very expensive. We're happy to see them when they're proposed. They're not always proposed, though. So that may be an option for the owner to consider.
Yeah, I'd still like to see it replaced. I know every time we do these exterior applied buttons, they don't actually get applied, and that's always an issue. I mean, we're making a compromise and then it doesn't get done. So I think it needs to be replaced, because the glass is going to have to go anyways. It's not clear glass. It's some sort of mirrored glass. I don't like it. It's 50% of the front facade.
We could ask for the applicant to come back with quotes and see how feasible it is, even if it's not a wood window,
Yeah,
and address it from there. You're right.
I think that's an option, and see if that film comes off of it or something to make it clear.
I'm actually unaware that there's a film on it. Are you sure that's not just reflection from the photo?
And then you can't see into the building at all.
No, I have curtains. There were curtains up. You can't see in because the curtains are drawn. They're blackout curtains.
Yeah.
You can if the curtains are open, but you cannot see in.
Yeah,
There was there used to be a TV screen right in front, so there's the curtains were blocking all that out.
what I'm going to propose is that we ask you to collect some quotes on getting that window replaced with basically whatever material you prefer, but I think there needs to be some effort towards getting it replaced, or at least looking similar. So, does anyone want to make a motion?
I'll make a different motion.
Okay. Or do you want to break it up? We can also ask her to come back.
So, so I motion that we recommend staff's approval with the addition caveat that the applicant work with the HPO staff to identify material to replace the wood shake on the front of the gable.
Okay. So that's one of the three items?
Can we
That's
split?
the motion.
That's the motion? Oh, wait, the whole thing? Just defining the shake. I will point out a house on Trowbridge that was supposed to put that shake up, did not. They just didn't. So it's all this stuff we come up with and then nothing ever happens, and it kind of is irritating. But yeah, do you have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'm in favor.
I oppose. All right.
So do the rest of the items get,
Motion passes. What?
do the rest of the items get tabled, since we only addressed one of them?
No, my motion was to
Just accept
accept
staff's
staff's approval
recommendation.
with the addition
Oh,
caveat of.
Recommended what they had already said.
Yeah.
Got it. Makes sense.
All right. Motion passes, and then, is Ms. Dominguez available?
I sent Ms. Dominguez another email
Okay.
along with the information. I have not heard back from her, but would you like to continue with the rest of the agenda, and then we'll come back?
I think we're pretty close to the end of it.
We are pretty close to the end. Sure.
Oh.
Sure.
Oh, one's there.
Hello, this is Ms. Dominguez.
Is this
Oh, she
Ms.
is? Oh, she
Dominguez?
is?
Yeah, that's me.
Okay, let me untable item number 2. Move to
Okay.
here, item number 2.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Ms. Dominguez, we gone over your item, and I think the consensus, at least from how I remember it from 30 minutes ago, was that most of the windows can be replaced with a 1/1, but the casement windows, the ones next to your front door, those ones potentially remain, and maybe those are the only ones that get refinished. I don't think the sliders were appropriate.
Okay, well, I tried to find, some companies who will try to remake the ones that I have there, and I couldn't find anyone who will do the same kind of window. So I came up with that option, but I don't know if you have another design that I can use on those 2 windows.
It looks like those casements are in a lot better shape than the other windows, and casements are a lot easier to seal if you're having leaking issues. Our recommendation was to keep the casement windows, but you can replace the others.
Yeah, that's fine. I can keep those. I just wanted to, make my house more energy efficient, and, there's a lot of dust and wind that goes through those windows, but I guess I can keep those until I figure that out.
Yeah, and the casement windows, they are easier to seal. So if you're having leaking issues, then it's a lot easier to seal casement-style windows than it is sash windows. So that would be our recommendation. It would
Okay.
allow you to replace the rest of your windows.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Let's see. All right, we'll
Okay,
make,
thank you.
thank you. Let's make a motion. I have to find the item again, sorry.
No, thank you.
Okay.
Is that it?
Yes, so we're gonna make a motion to approve the 1/1 windows, but that the casement windows at the front entry remain
Okay.
as is and potentially get refinished.
Second.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No? All right. Thank you, Ms. Dominguez.
Thank you.
On to item number 5. Does anyone have any addresses of properties other than the ones that I mumble about today? No? All right. Item number 6 is the consent agenda.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And then we're moving on to discussion on, I guess that was part of the consent agenda, wasn't it? We have to bring the consent agenda back? Sorry, it was on a different page.
Yeah, that's fine. That's okay. I don't know. I guess, do we? Bring the consent agenda back.
We approved it and then we need to bring it back
No,
now?
our attorney says that's okay.
Okay. Yeah.
There was one more.
Yeah, I turned the sheet and there was more to it. Okay. Going back to the consent agenda. We have discussion on regular meeting minutes for May 1st. And then we have discussion and action on excessive absences.
Okay. Okay, Commissioners. So this item, yes, to talk about excessive absences. Because, how do I start? As you noticed, we have fewer and fewer members because people are terming out, okay? And actually sort of like getting tired of things, right, Angela? Yeah, okay. Yes, thank you. We appreciate that. So basically, until we get these seats filled with commissioners that we need everybody to show up. And there is a provision in our ordinance that does address absences, basically. And it's this, when a member of any city board or committee is absent from 3 consecutive meetings of the board or committee, the chairman, vice chairman, or secretary of the board or committee shall report this fact to the mayor and city council, so consideration may be given for removal of such member. We bring this up also because we've noticed that when we don't have quorum, and it's usually the last day that we can hear something, that gets automatically approved on a technicality. And there are things that have been approved on technicality that we just don't like seeing. There's a whole new construction, there's a whole new house in McGoffin that's going to be constructed because that was approved on technicality since there was no quorum, okay? And we're very grateful to all of you. We understand you do take time out of your day. You take a few hours, and you're certainly not paid for this. You're all volunteers. We really, really appreciate everything you do. But as we said before, we really also need you to just show up. Also because when we have to tell property owners that there's no quorum, they're very unhappy. It delays their project even more. You know, it's very frustrating, and we usually have no other recourse except to say, okay, we'll have to wait until the next meeting. As I said, we do need people. So in the meantime, if you would like to just check your schedule for the year, see if this is something that you can continue committing to, we'd appreciate it. And honestly, if you can't, just let us know, okay? Because again, after 3 absences, we have to let the mayor and city council know. We don't like to do that. We like to at least give the rep who appointed the person a heads up and say, take this into consideration, let us know if you'd like to keep this person on or not. You know, so in this case, before we do that, before we send the mayor and all city council an email, we want to bring it up with you guys and say, just remember, we really do need you here. There's a reason for that. Yeah, because when there's no one here, items don't get heard, things get approved on technicality, no one walks away very happy. Well, except the property owner who wanted something on technicality. So again, if you would just take a look at your schedules, see if this is a commitment you can continue to honor, and if it's not, don't worry, just let us know. Okay?
Thank you, Ruby. For a 2-week?
I have a couple questions.
Oh, sure.
So it does say 3 consecutive absences, right? And so that, just to clarify, 3 consecutive absences? Okay.
Yes.
The other question that I have is, what is the number of appointees? I think that we asked maybe informally a couple of meetings ago. So if we have people that have termed out that are no longer, that are considered like off the board, does that affect the number that we need for quorum?
I want to say that I believe it does. This is
So-
something that we've approached with legal before, yeah.
I believe it's quorum should be, it's
Majority?
majority of
Right.
members appointed and sitting.
So right now, there's 6 of us here. What is the total number that we're at? Are we at the 9?
No, we're not at the 9 because 2 have turned out and have not come back. So right now we're at 7.
That's 7.
Yeah, and even then, some days I'm not sure. You know, that
Okay.
number's
Does
going to be
that-
very accurate.
Does that mean
Does
that
that
we
count
need 4?
me?
It does count, you are one of the 7.
Okay.
Yeah, as is Stefan, who's not here right now. So yes, you guys are all accounted for, yeah.
So then, can we confirm, maybe this is a question for legal, I don't know, is 4 what is needed to proceed until the others can be appointed, or are we still at 6? I think some guidance would also help us understand just how our absence affect the board's ability to function, given that the number of appointees has shifted.
Yeah, we can confirm that. I believe it is the number of, it depends on the board, and I'll have to double check in the bylaws and any documents. I believe it should, if we have 7, there should be 4. If we look at quorum. I think we've done that before.
I think we have, and I think you're right about the language. I think it states a majority of the appointed members. So, yeah.
Can you maybe remind us about what are the guidelines for people to be appointed? I mean, what do they need to be specific professions, those kinds of things?
Yeah, actually, let me get that out of the ordinance. Give me a moment, and I'll read it to you verbatim. How's that? me just get the muni code. Okay, this is from our city code, okay? It states, B, a quorum of the HLC shall consist of a majority of the number of members currently appointed. Okay? C, all members shall have demonstrated special interest, knowledge, and experience in the architectural, archaeological, cultural, social, economic, ethnic, or political history of El Paso, and shall include 2 architects. No one business or professional interest shall constitute a majority membership of the HLC. To the extent available in the community, professionals from the disciplines of architecture, engineering, construction, history, such as urban planning, American studies, American civilization, cultural geography, or cultural anthropology, architectural history, urban planning, archaeology, or other disciplines related to historic preservation, shall be given preference for appointment for any membership positions.
We have 3 architects.
It's a little more broad than what I thought it was.
Right. So moving forward, we are at 4 for quorum?
Yes, I'd say 4, yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Do we have to close or approve the consent
Adjourn?
agenda again? No? Okay. Move to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Nope. All right.
Oh, sorry, Wally. You'd come in a little late. We usually ask for public comment at the beginning. That's why we missed you.
Oh, I just wanted to make an announcement not related to.
Would that be okay?
any
Sure.
item on
Okay,
the
then
agenda.
please go right ahead.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to let you all know, if you don't know already, the El Paso Preservation Alliance, which is a nonprofit historic preservation organization, is having a tour of homes in Manhattan Heights Saturday between 1 and 5 p.m. And so you can go anytime you like between 1 and 5. And the tickets are available on Eventbrite online. And if you don't know how to use it, let me know and I'll show you. But apparently that's an issue. But I really hope that you'll come out and let people know about the home tour. Okay, thank you. The tickets are $15 a piece. Thanks.
Thank you.
Is your house on there, Isaac?
It's next to one that is.
Oh, close? Okay, so close.
I'm actively planting things.
Okay. So we can't even wave to you because you'll be covered up?
I'm just going to be covered in sweat and dirt.
Okay. Thank you, Molly.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay.